We have a quorum and we only have one item on the agenda. Well, that's not true. We have additional business as well, but I don't anticipate any additional business. So first of all, welcome to the meeting of October 23rd, 2025, meeting of the Conservation Commission, which has been noticed in accordance with the open meeting law. As a matter of formality, we ask anyone to participate, ask questions, make comments. We simply ask that you identify yourself for the record. We are being recorded, and we also introduce ourselves. My name is John Kiernan. I'm a member of the commission. Steve, let me just read across the top. Steve?
My name is Steve Ibis. I'm conservation agent in Milton.
Philip?
Philip Driscoll, conservation clerk.
Tom?
Tom Palmer, commission member.
Hans?
Hans Vinlingen, commission member.
Charlie?
Charlie Bosworth, commission member.
Arthur?
Arthur Doyle, commission member.
And Wendy.
Good evening. I'm Wendy Garpo, one of the commissioners.
All right, so we go right to number one on the agenda, and that is a motion, which I will propose. And I have sent a text of the proposed motion out, and we'll open it up to discussion. But the motion that I'm going to make is that we pass a resolution in support of Article 6, which is on the warrant for the town meeting, the special town meeting, scheduled to begin on October 27th, which is next Monday at the high school. And the motion is that that we approve this language, be it resolved that the Milton Conservation Commission recommends that the town vote to approve Article 6 as printed in the warrant. And then everybody has been given a copy of the warrant. Tom, thank you very much for sending that around last week. And you can see from the warrant and the recommendation, I'm sorry, the warrant article, and then the recommendation of the warrant committee, it essentially tracks the language. And I'm reading from the recommendation of the warrant committee that says recommended that the town vote to approve the article as printed in the warrant. So our motion would be essentially the same. I will at some point ask Sean O'Rourke, who's chair of the school building committee, to weigh in and give us an update. But essentially the background, and to put in context this motion, in annual town meeting in the spring of 2023, town meeting voted to approve a land swap by which, and I'm going to sort of round some numbers here, the Conservation Commission gave to the school department 2.8 acres on Guile Road for the an area of land suitable for the construction of the new middle school. In exchange for that 2.8 acres, the Conservation Commission received in return approximately 75, a little bit more than 75 acres of open space, including some 44 acres at Pope's Pond. We've got about 3 acres on Herrick Drive, 1 acre on School Street, 4.5 to 5 acres at the intersection of Highland Street and Canton Avenue. We've got about 7 acres off of Randolph Avenue next to the access road to the old landfill. And that in sum total issues about 75 acres of open land that we received. That transfer has been made so that we actually are now the deeded owner of that land. However, going back to Article 31 of the annual town meeting for 2023, there was a reverter clause, not for the whole land swap, and I'm going to underline that because in the description, or it's called a comment in the article, it says that if we don't vote to support the land swap, then if we don't vote to approve the extension of time for the town to receive funding from the state through the Building Assistance Administration, which I'll ask Sean to explain. We need to extend the time from 2028 until 2033 to make sure that the town gets the funding. If we didn't make that extension, there is a reverter clause in the 2023 article that says that if the funding is not received and the project up and running by April of 2028, then that 2.8 acres would come back from the school department to the Conservation Commission. There is another part to the reverter clause that involves the park department land, also off of Guile Road. It's essentially across the existing street that runs from Brooks Field down the hill towards Blue Hills Parkway. So those two parcels would revert some 4 acres back to the park department and 2.8 acres back to the Conservation Commission. But it will not void, just for clarity, it will not void the entire swap, so that's 75 acres of open space that we received. That's not going anywhere. That still belongs to the Conservation Commission. But the point of the article is to ensure that the town has the opportunity to receive funding from the state. And Sean, I'd ask you to comment as to what that funding looks like and what the financial impact on the town will be with and also without that funding.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. So, just for the record, Sean O'Rourke, town meeting member, precinct 8, chair of the school building committee. So in December of last year, the town was invited by the Mass School Building Authority to participate in their program, which provides reimbursement for eligible costs of the construction of a new school. Prior to that, we've been around for a little over 6 years. And each year we've submitted to MSBA our statement of interest, which is basically a description of the overcrowding and our request to remedy that by constructing new facilities. Each year that we submitted, we were not chosen. And the one differential, I believe, that we were chosen this past year is that we actually had land, to construct the school. So it was a big differentiator, just in my opinion. So, I appreciate all the work that went into it. Once we got accepted to that, it essentially for our project hit a reset button, to put it a simple way. Previously to this, as the commission's probably aware, we were working towards a schematic design. We had a anticipated project cost of that schematic design at Guile Road. But once we entered into the agreement with MSBA into this program, we had to stop that and basically reset. And we're in the point now of completing. MSBA has a set of modules that we have to complete. And we're completing module 1 right now, about to transition into module 2. Module 2 is essentially what they call forming a project team, where we onboard an owner's project manager and an architect to basically start the design all over again. So as I said, it was like a reset button for the previous effort that we were doing. Because of that, it's dragged out our timeline a little bit. So that reset button has kind of set us back a little over about 2 years, a year and a half to 2 years. And then what we've done is we've looked at previously completed MSBA projects that are similar to ours and the associated timelines with those. And each one of them either bring us directly to the time where that reverter clause would kick in, or well beyond it. So there wasn't really any gray area as we looked at MSBA. So with it, the project that, as we did it previously, had a dollar value of 173 million. MSBA has quoted that the Milton's reimbursement rate is 45% of what's called eligible costs. So the makeup of the overall project, there are certain costs that are eligible for reimbursement, there's certain costs that are ineligible. Previously, when we had our owner's project manager on, call it the effective rate or the diluted rate is about 28%. So when you apply 28% to a $173 million project, it roughly equates out to about 48 million of reimbursed costs that the town would realize as we enter the MSBA program. So long-winded answer, Mr. Chair, but I hope that answers it for you.
So it looks like the financial swing is about $48 million that, if not for state reimbursement, would end up in the lap of the taxpayers of Milton.
Correct.
All right. And this article is designed in your simple words, not in your simple words, but in simple words. How would you describe it? The purpose of the extension?
The purpose of the extension, so for us, as I mentioned, the deciding factor I think MSBA saw was that we have land available. So, it's a doable project. My concern would be is if the reverter clause were to hold as is today, we would enter into this process with MSBA, work on a design at Cal Road, and not be able to get through the hurdles or the additional modules to get to the point of a project funding vote because we'd be tied to MSBA's timelines. As a perfect example of how slow the process works, Module 1, they provided a scheduled duration of 270 days that allow us to complete Module 1. We completed it in 90 days. And that was end of July, end of June, I believe, beginning of July. We just had our meeting with MSBA this past week. So all that time we've just been sitting waiting, you know what I mean? And now we're hoping to get a vote to transition to Module 2, ideally in October. We're finding out it's not going to be till February. So, more of these timelines from working, with the state agency is just dragging everything out. So my concern is if we do not have the reverter clause, we'll go down a path with the MSBA. And then at some point, the project would have to get changed because the land would not be there anymore. And then essentially we'd have to go try to find land for this project and further delay it even more. And maybe at that point, sacrifice that funding option that we have from MSBA.
Understood. Any questions from commission members?
I have one.
Go ahead, Tom.
The clause goes until 2033. The new date is 2033.
Yep.
That's 8 years from now, right?
Correct.
What prevents us or town meeting from voting this a year from now, 2, 3, 4 years from now, when we might have a better idea about whether we actually need a school or whether this is the right place for a school?
So I think, just my read on it. So the need for a school is acknowledged by MSBA. They've looked at our enrollment, they've looked at our statement of interest, and have essentially put money up, if you want to call it that, of about $45 million to, fund this project. So I think the need for a school is well documented and agreed to by not only members of the town, but also members of state. The location for the school, again, this article isn't there to re-litigate or re-debate the land swap. I think that was already decided by the town. It was signed by the governor. It was done. I think the point of this article is essentially a reverter clause as it applies to the new schedule that we're kind of held to by MSBA.
I don't think you answered my question, but I thank you for giving it a go. I really don't see why this article couldn't be voted at a later time when this project has come into more focus. If you want to push it out to 2033, 8 years is a long time. A lot could change in 8 years. So it just seems to me that might not be what people call ripe. The question is not ripe in my mind, but that's only my opinion.
So the one thing I'd ask is, the timelines that I presented at Warrant Committee showed the date for just getting to a single funding vote beyond that 2028 deadline that's there. As you're probably aware from the previous school building project where the reimbursement rate was actually higher than the 45% that we're talking about now, it took over 3 votes, I believe, to get the funding passed. So even though we're looking at a schedule just to get to the first vote, I think the anticipation is this is going to take multiple votes by the time it gets out there due to just the elevated costs that we're looking at. So that's, from the data that we have now that's published by MSBA, that's kind of why we think it's now should be it at the beginning of the project, not later.
All right. Well, one more question. You said
Sure.
that the town is behind this. Now, isn't it so that the taxpayers and residents of the town will at some point get to vote on whether they want to spend however 150 million, whatever it is, and that vote hasn't occurred yet, has it? Right? The voters of the town have not approved a cost or a location or anything for the school, right?
So a clarification that they haven't been given the opportunity to vote on that. So,
all right. So you said the town was behind it. In my view, the town is behind it when the town votes for it. And has the town voted for it yet?
we're represented by a town meeting that has representatives throughout the entire town. 2/3
Yeah,
of
the
which
town meeting can't spend the money. The voters have to spend the money.
understood. And again, we're not at the point where we've had the opportunity as a town for the entire public to vote on it. The only
All
point-
right. Do you then see why I say that the town being behind it
Mhm.
needs to be that needs to be defined more precisely, because the voters who will pay for it have not voted on
Correct.
it, right? Okay.
Correct. Again, they have not had the opportunity. We had requested it from the select board. We had put essentially everything that was asked for in front of the select board last year to allow the town to vote on it, and the select board did not allow the town to vote on it. So the opportunity for that does not fall on the school building committee. So we have been working to do that, to get in front of the town, to get an answer to that. So my point is a representative town meeting that makes the decisions for the town right now is kind of the, how our government operates here in the town, has voted to support this.
Yeah, but we're going in circles. What I'm saying is the voters will approve the money, and they have not done. And you agree with me about that. So,
They have not done it because they have not had the opportunity, sir.
all right. Well, I don't know myself how they will vote, but I would say that until that happens, this project doesn't happen, right?
Tom, isn't it true, though, that as described by Sean and as we understand it, the town's going to have to expend a lot of money to build a school, and it's going to require an override.
Wait
So
a
the
minute,
question
John.
is-
Wait a minute, John. You say
Yes.
the town has to build a school. I'm the town as much as you are, and I haven't been convinced yet. When I will vote, I'll have to think that over. But the town has to build a school depending on the decision of the town. It's not something that comes from above. It's our decision. And
I think
not
we
only
made
do we
it-
have to decide whether to build a school or not,
well,
but we have to decide where to build a school.
Okay, Tom.
So, yeah.
Tom, I think you're conflating two issues. The town meeting voted for this land swap to build a school. That's done. I'm
Yes,
talking
that's not
about
the
something
same as
else.
building a school.
Okay, Tom, now you let me speak. That's one issue that's been resolved by town meeting by a 2/3 vote. The second issue that I was addressing is the override. So the question before the town now is, do we ask for an override for X number of dollars to build a school, which you said it hasn't happened yet? Or do we ask for the citizens to support a school to be built for X minus $48 million?
You
There is
said
an
we have to build
there
a
is an
school, John.
identifiable issue. You
John,
won't talk
you said
over
we
me.
have to
Tom,
build
you're
a
not going to
school,
talk
right?
over me. The issue is whether or not the vote to the town is going to be for X number of dollars to build a school, or is it going to be X minus $48 million that we, the taxpayers of Milton, can secure a benefit from the Massachusetts School Building Administration. It's a $48 million swing, Tom.
Isn't there a third option, John? You said we have to build a school. Who is going to convince me of that? I'm not
Well,
convinced myself.
apparently none, but we're we're all riding on the vote of the town meeting, and we are a representative town meeting. That's in our charter, and it's been that way since the Pilgrims landed. And that was
That's
the
what I
vote.
said to begin with. I said to begin with, the town has to vote on this, and they have not.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, one more remark.
Sure.
You see the sign behind me that's backward. That's a sign on the land that we're talking about. And that's the land that we, the Conservation Commission, pledged to conserve and protect. And in return for doing that, the money was made available to buy it from state and federal funds. So we are the same commission. We are the heirs of the commissioners in 1978 that pledged to protect this land. And now we've been encouraged to unprotect it. And I didn't find that argument persuasive before. And I don't find it persuasive now because I do not want to undo the work that our predecessors do. Now, we have heard a lot about how wonderful the swamp is and how much land we're going to get. I think a lot of people know why that never persuaded me. I spoke 20 minutes at town meeting about that a couple of years ago. My argument was, namely, all this land we're supposedly getting is unbuildable, wetlands and so forth. There are various reasons why it's unlikely to be developed, so that what we are getting is sort of a fool's gold, in my opinion. We're not really getting real value. And that's why I made the argument that the swap passed, but EOEA did not approve it. And it will be at some time, I think, found to be unlawful because the fair market value of what's coming out of Article 97 is much less than what's going in because of the difference in values decided by development value, namely Pope's Pond.
Based on whose math, Tom? Based on whose math?
Pope's Pond.
Show me the assessment of the land and the value of the land relative to the 2 acres. Show me the actual math.
Do you want me to do that? I'll do that for you right now. I have some.
No, it's
slides
Tom.
that
It's going to
show
be
that.
it's going to be the same argument that you made, and you're going to use the same numbers that you presented at town meeting. And
That's right. And,
they were
numbers have
unsupported
changed.
then, and they're unsupported now, and the town has voted. The legislature has approved the swap. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts has approved the swap. The governor signed
No,
the
that's not
legislation.
so.
It's I'm sorry, it's not so?
EOEA.
We're gonna wait a minute now.
EOEA
We're gonna do
has
some
a
fact checking
policy.
here. We're gonna do some fact checking. The legislature voted
Yes.
overwhelmingly to support the land swap on a home rule petition, and the governor signed that bill. It is the law of the Commonwealth.
It was never approved by EOEA, and that's something that it could have received but did not. And if, as it goes forward, and questions are raised about these lack of, for instance, appraisals that were convincing, these things will be perhaps litigated, perhaps not, but it will be shown that the swap does not conform to the new rule about open space, namely that fair market value must be equivalent between the land going out of Article 97 and the land coming in. Now, here at
Tom,
Road,
you're gonna be out of order pretty soon because there's a motion on the floor that is up for discussion. I'd
I'm
ask
trying
you
to
to
answer a
confine your
question.
remarks to the motion,
Yeah, well,
not to the argument that you lost 2 years ago.
I'm just trying to state my reaction to certain claims that are made that I don't believe are valid. So that's why I'm speaking up. At any rate, I don't believe anything I said tonight is not so. And I'd be glad to talk about it further. But if you would like me not to talk anymore, I'll be glad to do that as well. I just felt like as a member of this board, I need to state my position and my reaction to the proposal. And yes, I don't imagine I'm going to vote yes on this. And if you have any questions about why I'm not, I'll be glad to answer them. But as I say, I don't really feel this is a good deal either for conservation or for the town in general. So that's where I am.
All right, so the record is clear. I am not limiting your speech on the motion.
That's right. I don't have any problem, John, with your allowance of me to speak.
All right, any other comments, questions? Now, Steve, you'll have to help me out on this because I can only see the 9 screens in front of me. I don't see anybody else participating other than commission members and agents.
I don't see
And then
anyone else.
Sean O'Rourke. I'm sorry?
I don't see anyone else on the
Okay.
on the screen
I
myself.
just want to make sure that there's no other comments. All right,
Sure.
so the motion has been made, and that is that be it resolved that the Milton Conservation Commission recommends that the town vote to approve Article 6 as printed in the warrant. We've all got copies of the warrant. And before I ask for a second, I would also point out that I think it would behoove all of us to be familiar with our own guidelines and bylaws. And Section 9 of the bylaws says that we shall weigh the public interest as part of our duty, part of our mandate to protect the resources, that we also look to other social benefits and values and public good. And I think Section 9, I think, is appropriately considered under these circumstances. So the motion's been made. I ask for a second.
Second.
Thank you, Charlie. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Hans, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Arthur, how do you vote?
Yes.
Charlie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Wendy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tom, how do you vote?
No.
And I, John Cannon, vote yes. The motion carries. That's the end of the one point of the agenda. The other next on the agenda is additional business. I have none. Anyone have one?
John, I did have something really quick to bring up.
Sure.
It is unrelated to this. Steve, can you let me have the screen really quick?
Yes, you can have the screen right now. Go ahead. I believe.
Trying, it's not there yet.
Okay.
If you can't do it, I can just run through verbally. It's fine.
Sure. One moment. Let me see. I did it the other day pretty
Take up
easily.
much time.
Share. They change the Zoom methods all the time. As
That's
you
okay,
know.
Steve. I can just run through it quickly verbally.
Okay.
This is just something I'm working on that I thought would be of interest to the commission. It's relative to energy projects. So as some of you know, I work on these kind of projects. The Mass Energy Facility Siting Board was directed under the 2024 Climate Act to streamline the permitting process. They've since promulgated new regulations that haven't been approved yet. That will happen March 1st, 2026. But right now we're coming into a comment period. What is, I think, of value to the commission is something called consolidated local permitting. So for energy generation projects like solar or wind, solar is probably the most likely, or even battery storage. Those are the type of things we could see in Milton. It also applies to transmission line projects. So if there's a new transmission line, proposed that goes through Milton, it would also fall under. The important thing is that under the consolidated local permitting process, the towns that are affected would be required to issue a single permit. So basically, if the zoning requirement, wetlands requirement, those sort of things that aren't typically don't fall under the Energy Facility Siting Board, the town would have to have a single consolidated permit, and it would have to be issued within 12 months. The DOER is going to be issuing guidance on how that happens, but some towns that have been very active in energy projects are already familiar with it. But I do know that the different energy companies in the area are proposing a lot of upgrade work, and it's entirely possible that we might see in the future projects that do affect the town of Milton. So I do think it is worthwhile to follow that.
No, I agree,
Happy-
Hans. And I think we actually took a look at from the 25,000 foot level last June or July, because the MACC had issued some publications suggesting that Conservation Commission support this streamlining of the permitting process, because part of the legislation proposed was also designed to expedite and to facilitate the restoration of wetlands. And I think it was on our July agenda. It could have been the June agenda. And it's all part of the same package. And I understand it may limit the Conservation Commission's role because of streamlining the energy siting proposals. But it seems to make sense from a logical perspective to speed up the process from 5 or 6 years down to hopefully less than a year. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's my
Yes,
understanding.
that's the intent, and hopefully it is a positive outcome, but it will change the way that 351 towns in Massachusetts do this to one way. So I'll share more as it continues to evolve.
All right, that would be really helpful, and I think that MACC is paying very close attention to this, and at least thus far has been very supportive of it.
Yes.
Good news. All right, anything else under additional business?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, tie
Yes.
into what Hans was speaking about. Hans, might be good to tie in with the chair of the Climate Action Planning Committee in Milton, Alex Hasha. There would be a very good dovetailing on this issue with that body as well.
Okay. Tom, Arthur, if you have any suggestions on who to contact,
I will
feel free
get
to let me. Yeah.
information to you. Happy to.
Yep.
That's good. And Hans, please keep us informed at our meetings as to what's going on and what progress is being made.
Sure.
Okay. Thanks. Hearing nothing else for additional business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle. Second?
Second.
Thanks, Charlie. Any discussion? Hearing none. Voice vote, Hans,
Yes.
Arthur,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Thank you. We are adjourned. Thanks all.